morning everybody, and welcome back to another beautiful day here at Drusillas Park. Again, we're very sorry that you can't be here with us, but we've got various bits throughout the week that we would like to show you as to what we're doing on our busy day, looking after all of these wonderful animals. And currently I'm just down at the flamingo enclosure, and you can just hear some noisy guinea fowls in the back there trying to interrupt my video, but just down at the flamingo enclosure at the moment. And one of the bigger jobs that we have to do here as zookeepers is keep these ponds nice and clean for the animals, so that they've got plenty of fresh water to drink and to bathe in. And for the flamingos, it's very important for them to be able to feed from, so that because they are filter feeding birds, they need to have that water to be able to feed properly. They don't actually mind the water being too dirty. They manage to filter out a lot of the aquatic invertebrates that are in the water, so that's quite a good enrichment for them. And we actually put dry river shrimp in the water for them to filter feed through, and that's something that they really enjoy doing. And we have 13 flamingos in our flock, which isn't a particularly big number, but it's a stable group, and they're all absolutely beautiful individuals, as you can see, that striking pink coloration that you can see, and they get their pink coloration from their food, but it's actually from what's called carotenoids that are in the food. Flamingos have the ability to be able to pick out pink colorations in the carotenoids. So carotenoids are generally quite dark colours, sort of blues and greens, but pink is the easiest colour in the animal kingdom to create, and their bodies are perfectly adapted for drawing out those pink colorations, which makes them look as beautiful as they are. So currently in the enclosure at the moment is Claire, and she is just working her way through this pond, keeping it nice and clean. So as I said, we have 13 flamingos in our group, and I don't know if you're aware, but there's actually 6 different species of flamingos. It's not just the one pink bird, there's 6 different species. We have the greater flamingo, the lesser flamingo, the Chilean flamingo, the Andean flamingo, the James's flamingo, and the Caribbean flamingos. So there's lots of different species. All of them have their conservation issues about them. Their numbers are declining, so it's really, really important that we save them, and there's a lot to learn about them. We make sure that when we are taking care of them on a day-to-day basis, we check their feet, because they do get occasionally feet problems. And we like to make sure that their keel, their breastbone, is nice and plump, and that's a good indication that they are nice and healthy. So the flamingos get around 3 feeds a day. We give them a pelleted feed twice a day, as well as the chubby shrimp, the little dried river shrimp that I said that we put in the water. So they're just in the corner of the pool at the moment, keeping out the way whilst Claire does the cleaning, and we'll steam clean the pond. We'll pressure clean it to keep it looking lovely for when you come back. And so whilst we're down here at the flamingo enclosure, I've just snuck into the enclosure just very quickly, as there's a few other interesting facts about the flamingos that I'd like to share with you. So I'm actually just down here at their nesting site, and you can see here that there's quite a big mud mound all the way along this planted area right next to the pool. And we're actually just about coming up to the breeding season for Chilean flamingos. And what we do here is, in the nest site, you can see that there's these mirrors just to my right, and we dig over the soil here, make it nice and soft. We add some sand to it, and we've got an irrigation system running underneath the soil, just putting a bit of water in there to make it easy for the flamingos to manipulate that soil. And the mirrors are there just to help the flamingos to feel like there is many more flamingos around them, just provide them with a little bit of security. Flamingos like to nest very close to each other. There's safety in numbers, and that's obviously why you see sort of countless thousands of flamingos in the wild. So if I just angle the camera down here a little bit, here is one of the nest mounds, and this has actually been made by the keepers. There's about 10 of them. Oops, sorry. There's about 10 of them along this nesting row, and we call them nest starts. So we start it off, and just over on the nest area over there, you can just see a few eggs. They're fake eggs. They're basically there as a stimulus. So the birds come over and they see the eggs and they start paying it a bit of attention, and that maybe just gets the whole cycle of breeding and egg laying going, and starts developing that motherly instinct of nurturing the eggs. And then we start seeing a bit more interaction from the flamingos on the nest site. And they will sort of spend a bit more time on a particular nest. And some of the behaviours that we're actually looking for are the birds will stand on the nest, and then they'll put their head directly down as if they're looking at their feet, and that's quite a good indicator that they've claimed that nest. So all of the birds, certainly the females, the hens, they like to almost be in the centre of that nest site because that's the safest place to be. So some of the breeding behaviour that we're seeing at the moment from the flamingos, what we're actually looking for is they do a lot of dancing. They sort of wander up and down the pond in unison, and they do what's called head flagging. So they've got their head up and they're just looking left and right, flagging to each other, signalling that they're kind of in the spirit of getting ready to breed. It's really quite amazing to watch. And we've got various different sizes actually of the flamingos. They're all different sizes, and the girls all like to be with the biggest male. So we've got some nice big handsome boys in there, and there's a lot of sort of flirty behaviour going on at the moment, lots of courtship as we call it. So we're really excited for the next few months to see what happens. They're not an easy species to breed. The eggs are very delicate, the birds are very delicate. We have to think about the weather and them being outside in all these different temperatures and making sure that the conditions are absolutely perfect for them. We have bred flamingos here at the park before, and all of these little things that we put in place, like the irrigation system and the mirrors. We also add an audio system in, so when you come to the park you might even hear flamingos making a noise, but actually it doesn't seem as if it's coming from the birds themselves. It's because we've got an audio system in the background, and that again is another stimulus to get the birds thinking that there's many more birds around, and just sort of helps ensure that we get some eggs from them. They're all very experienced birds in rearing their own eggs and rearing their own chicks. And when the chicks hatch, they're pure white like cotton, very short, little stumpy, chubby legs, which is really sweet to see. And the parents actually feed the birds a crop milk, so you'll see them beak to beak, and it's almost like their feet. It's a very blood red sort of formula, crop milk, and it's actually believed many years ago that they might even be feeding them their own blood, but that's obviously not the case. It's just the colour of the food that they eat, the crop milk that they're passing on to their infants. It's very rich, and the chicks develop really quite quickly. So we'll keep you updated with the flamingos and how they're doing, and fingers crossed we may even get some chicks this year. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of Behind the Scenes.